Ladies and gentlemen, the following is scheduled for one fall. It is time for That Way Cool Wrestling Show!
Hey everybody, welcome to That Way Cool Wrestling Show. My name is Danny J. You're on the DJB Productions Network. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Leave us a comment. We want to hear from you guys. And share the show, share the channel. Make sure all your friends know about it. Come right on here. We got a great show today. We're going to be talking wrestling. Obviously, I got my good friend, LeGrand Jackson, coming right out of the bar.
What's up, people? How you doing? Coming live direct from the bar as usual.
There we go. COVID-19 has not stopped this man, I'm telling you right now. And then special guest coming on with us today, someone we love, love, love. We got Cyndi Bobcat Snow.
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
That's right.
Hey now.
Hey, now, that's right.
Well, unfortunately, I've been in the house for I don't know how long. I don't even know what day it is.
I know, I don't either.
What month is it?
I know. Tell me about it. It's the truth. But we're talking about, we're in a COVID-19 era, which is what we dubbed this era. You know, WWE ain't going to have eras just themselves. We have it too. And we wanted to bring Cyndi on and talk a little bit about wrestling and see how things are going. Obviously, we've been experiencing a lot of empty arena matches. We had a less than tasteful WrestleMania come by in the last couple weeks.
It was free, so you know it was bad.
yeah, seriously. And then on top of everything else, you know, we got people working, and really the last bad thing about this whole COVID-19 is that Cyndi is watching Impact Wrestling, which it's a turnaround because I usually was their biggest supporter, but I can't even watch the program anymore. And she's like, "Yeah, I still watch it. It's all good."
You know what? I do like I like the cheesy factor. I love the Sinister Minister stuff that's going on, and I love looking at those, and you know,
it's good.
Campy. I like that stuff.
I kind of dug the Sue Young thing that they were doing when she lost her memory and became a nurse or something like that. That was kind of neat. And you don't realize how beautiful that woman is.
Oh, are you crushing? You loving?
A little bit, yeah. I got a list. Don't worry about it. But it's amazing. Like, you know, you see her, and then she goes back into the demonistic vampire undead bride thing. And you're like, oh, wow, yeah, she is really a creepy woman. It's like when you think about it, you know.
It's kind of like women with and without their makeup, I guess, right?
It really is. It really, truly is. And in that case, I don't know which one was better. So, but for you though, and you made a good point there. You're watching Impact because a lot of the old crew are down there, or up there, I should say.
Oh, there you go. I think the last match I've seen Sabu and Little Genie, Melissa Coates.
Yes.
No, not Little Genie. What's her name? Super Genie.
Super Genie. Yes.
I'm thinking Little Genie or Little Genie.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I know. It's like it was on her mind.
I love Little Genie.
But you know what? It's funny because you got the guys there, and good for them. They're getting a paycheck. I mean, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you watch our, we have another feed off show, or I should say a spinoff from here, which is called That Way Cool Wrestling Show Breakout with Rusty Loudermuck. He reported that, you know, like the reason why Impact landed on Axis is because Anthem Sports bought the channel.
Oh.
And it makes all the sense in the world because they were not doing well in getting a channel deal, you know, at least with a decent channel that would support them.
What were they on? Nation? And what was the other channels they were on?
What was that one? I think they might even change the name. It was Destination America.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That's it. And then it went to Pop, which is like a CBS BS affiliate channel. Then they went to the fishing channel for about 3 weeks. I don't know if that was about. Remember that?
I missed that one.
They went to, it was, what was that channel called? That was your favorite channel, LeGrand.
Look, leave me alone, man. Just because I like the hunting channels and all that. I'm all right.
It would have been nice if it went on Vice. They were on, it was, because it wasn't on I had Comcast. I'm up in the Northeast, and it left our broadcast system. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not watching Impact anymore. You know, it was on this channel that was like a hunting channel.
That's crazy.
So it made no sense to have wrestling on there at all. You know, and then they got off of that and went to Access. So I was like, all right, well, Access is actually a pretty cool channel because they have the New Japan on there. WoW is on there.
While I was on there, yep.
And so I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. It's rock and roll and wrestling, which is what rock and wrestling always was from the 80s on up. Yeah. So I was like, all right, that's cool. We could deal with that. But it's unfortunate because a lot of people are out of work. You could tell that they're using, we talked about this in a couple episodes, where they're using some of the more seasoned talent to get through the no fan shows, which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they got to do what they got to do. But
it's true. I mean, what do you think? I don't want to talk about that travesty, but what do you think? Should WrestleMania have been postponed?
Yes, it should have been postponed. It should have. You know, I think that if they would have postponed and did like, it would have showed that they're in it like us. It's not like, you know, it's wrestling, but it's not above us. I mean, come on, we all shut down. We all took a cut. They could have done the same thing, but oh well.
And you're right. You bring up a good point though, because you're like
to show like other shows, like the best of or something. You know, they didn't have to go there and.
Because you make a great point, because you no one else said that. It's like you're showing, if you would have postponed it, you're showing that you're like us. And that means that like you're thinking about the fans, and you're not. You're thinking about that mighty dollar, and keeping it on track. Now, multi-million-dollar movies are being postponed by months.
Yes.
WrestleMania can. I gotta miss Black Widow, but I can't. I gotta watch WrestleMania.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. They should have took the high road, and they should have just showed repeats, the best of WrestleMania, did something, made it $5. They could have still made money, but instead they went on and did it anyway. And you know, I mean, they should have just. I mean, the rest of the world's shutting down.
Yeah.
What is that? You're not going to fill your against the law, so why bother?
If you have the network, they have such an array of shows that some can't be aired on regular TV, but a lot can. I don't know. I don't watch the network anymore. Like really, I honestly don't. I watched it for as much WCW and NWA stuff that I can find.
Right.
And then I stopped. I was like, I'm over it. But, you know, they have shows like that cartoon that was Camp WWE. It was okay. I thought it was forced a little bit. If you watch the first couple episodes, it was like they were forcing the cursing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're doing it for the sake of doing it, that's what it kind of seemed like to me. But I was like, this is kind of funny because I can watch Ric Flair voice over anything and I'll just laugh my ass off.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But like, you know, something like that could have went on and drove people to get the network in a sense, because you only have it on for this limited time. You know,
like I said, showed so many different things. They could have showed the best of old WWF stuff, WWE stuff. You know, they could have, and you know what? I would have rather watched that than watch WrestleMania. You know,
imagine if they put on like in place of a Raw, for example, a WCW Starrcade.
Right. Anything.
Edit it down for television. You know what I mean? But imagine, you haven't seen that stuff since potentially 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a great thing, but I don't know. I mean,
but I mean, think about that. You own the WCW library. You could show like Starrcade 90.
Hey, have you been watching The Dark Side of Wrestling?
Yes.
All right. That explain what you're saying right now, why they don't show a lot of stuff. It kind of gives you an insight when you listen to the people that were behind the scenes, what really went on there. You know, so like that's probably why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
But by giving you that background information, it makes it a lot more interesting to see everything that was going on in front of the camera now that you know everything that was going on behind the scenes.
Yep.
I mean, with shows like
he's Burnett is great.
You have shows like Bella Twins, like there's another one. There's another one which is not the Bella Twins. I think is another one where you see all the girls. You know what I'm talking about, right? Divas.
Totally Divas.
Totally Divas. Yeah, thank you. And you see a shit ton of behind the scenes, non-kayfabe shit, you know, on there. So if you're giving it away like it's, you know, a menu to the local restaurant that's coming out, will these fans take to more behind the scenes stuff, you know, in place of a Raw or something like that? My answer to that is because I don't think these fans, I don't want to say are not real fans, because they're programmed to know what they know. We're much older, unfortunately.
From a different time. We came from that, you know, the kayfabe time. Actually, when I got into the business, it was very kayfabe, and
Mm-hmm.
then at the end of like actually when I started, it was starting to get a little less kayfabe. Where when Vince
Yeah.
kind of took it to what it is today,
Well, internet killed us.
attack male soap opera.
It
You know,
sounds so archaic, but internet killed us completely.
yes, and internet made stars that shouldn't have been stars, and internet
Yeah.
killed business.
It did.
Internet didn't do very justice to what it was. But
No,
yeah,
it really, really didn't. And it's a shame too, because like I said, you
well, I
know,
mean, it's by the mystique of wrestling, kind of.
well,
It was
yeah,
what made
because the excitement was when you're watching one day and like, oh, we got a special debut, and you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen that guy in forever, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because usually it takes a few months
yeah,
for them to transition
right.
out of one contract to another.
That
And
exactly.
and because you didn't have a lot of content on, you didn't see that guy for like 3 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now we all know, like for example, today, the Revival, who is
Right.
arguably one of the best performing tag teams in wrestling, up there with the Young Bucks and stuff like that, as far as performing as a team. Like they're very reminiscent of Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard when you watch them. So they're a throwback, but they're very, very smooth, very consistent. They get released. Everybody knows that they have a 90-day no compete clause. They're going to go to AEW.
Actually, they don't have a no complete clause.
You know,
What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know?
They just got finished saying how the Revival didn't have a no compete clause, so technically we could actually see them Wednesday on AEW.
Get out.
Yeah, the way
That's
the
crazy.
names have already been changed. I forget the new name that they're going under as a team, but no compete clause was in their contract, so technically they can go right now to another federation.
They just can't
Wow.
use it. Yeah, of course, WWE.
Are there personal names, trademark names, or
Yeah. Well, you
like
come most of
Dash
them when you
Wild and all that shit?
yeah, when you
Nah,
sign, like
Yeah.
I signed that, any name I had was there, so it's pretty much how it goes with everyone. They own it.
What did you use there? I forget.
I still had Bobcat. They owned that, and then I went on the Ho train. That's the Godfather Ho. But I was saying
But
when I was down there,
that's like Ho number 1, 2, or 3, something like that.
yeah, I think they called me Pam or something on there. But it was like,
Nobody knows.
yeah. But when I was down there in Memphis doing it, I was Bobcat, but they technically own Bobcat in my contract. Like,
Did you have to change the spelling to use it?
no. Well, I mean, no, I can use it now because I'm not under contract with them anymore. But as long as I was under contract with them, yeah.
Oh, were you able to do independent bookings while you were under contract back then?
I was in the beginning, and then when I went down to Memphis, but then when we was down there, I forget when Vince stopped it, but it was not much longer after I was there that no one could do any more independent bookings because talent was getting hurt. That's why he stopped it. But for a while
That
there,
makes sense.
people were getting injured on indie shows and they couldn't come to Raw. So I get why Vince did that. That's not,
Yeah.
that's not. I'm surprised he let him do it in the first place, but
I mean, that helped you guys get a lot of indie shows, though.
yeah, they
Being a WWE superstar, blah blah blah. Yeah, sure. Because you spell what? You spell what with a K?
What?
You spell it with a K?
What?
Bobkat?
No, be a regular Bobcat.
You spell regular Bobcat like a cat. Oh, okay.
Like a cat. Yeah.
I don't know. I always figured because she's a girl that she's going to spell it like all different and cute or something like that. I was like, whatever. I don't know. Now, here's a question that I didn't get a chance to ask you on the last time we talked to you. Remember back in the day, this was going back to, I think, 99. We were working with Tommy Fierro in Jersey, and you were doing the Sable gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any trouble with that, or was it because like out of sight, out of mind?
Actually, when I was kind of doing my own thing, but unfortunately Sable was doing it, and it's hard to. It was kind of like you don't know until they come out on TV what they're doing. You're doing on the indies. It was the same thing. Problem when I was always wearing a cowboy hat down in when I was in Memphis. Then Trish Stratus start wearing it on it, so then I had to stop wearing the hat, which was so weird. Like, see, you don't know. You're doing what you're doing, your own thing, but just so happens somebody up is doing it. And yeah, I got a little grief from doing the Sable thing, but then what are you gonna do? I'm blonde with big boobs, pretty much. It was.
Well, you're right, and you got a good point though too. It's like I've been doing it because they beat me to TV. Nobody knows except for who's watching TV. That's true. Yeah.
And then it comes out, and you're already doing it on the indie scene. You're working in a whole different. So yeah, I mean pretty much when I came out, I was like, oh, another Sable. You know, no, wasn't nothing like that. I did my own thing.
Well, you know how fans are. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, like again,
You know.
blonde hair, big.
Yeah, you know. As I
Actually,
remember.
I was already under contract with WWF at the time, and I was doing that Who Wants to Be a Superstar. So I was up there doing the promos on the Carson
Yeah.
Daly show, and I remember this guy that worked. It was really funny. He worked on. He was working behind the scenes with WWF. Behind he was there, and he goes,
Right.
"Oh, you'll never get much like Sable." And I went, "Puh." It was already signed. I know.
Well,
People,
yeah, another big boob blonde girl. Yeah,
yeah.
who do? Yeah, exactly.
They're not, I don't want to say it because that was your whole thing to get a contract. But I
Yeah.
was already signed. But I was already. How can I explain it? I was already signed, and I was already offered to go to do Who Wants to Be a Superstar. And I said, well, the guy that was one of the executives for MTV, he'd called and asked me. He used to be a wrestling fan. He used to go to the indie shows. So I came and I went on there, and WWF said, "Yeah, go on." And I knew I wasn't going to win, but I was going to
Right.
make it at the time.
Was that fixed?
It was a work from there. What?
Was that work? Was that a work?
Some of it, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
was it? I figured.
remember, what was it J.R. Ryder? And I know that people made it to a certain length, but I don't know how. I mean, you were wrestling a fucking dummy, for God's sake. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, because they kind of said the same thing. If you go back to last week's Dark Side of the Ring, that the Brawl for All was a work. It really was, in a sense. It wasn't, but it was because they knew who they wanted.
Didn't the Brawl for All? They didn't know who won. Is that the one where they
No,
knocked
not who won it, but who they wanted. Who they wanted. Yeah, yeah.
They thought we're gonna win.
They wanted Steve Williams.
Listen to Russo talk. He hated.
And here's the thing. Here's the funny thing, because somebody brought this up to me too. That on another broadcast, and I forget what it was. I'm trying to think. It wasn't Jericho or something like that, but Russo blamed that entire thing on Vince McMahon, saying that it was his idea and that he was against it. And then on Dark Side of the Ring, he says, "Oh, I'm the one that pitched it." It's like, come on.
And loved it, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great idea. And Jim Cornette's like, "You fucking idiot!" You know what I mean?
Oh, I love Cornette. I've been texting. I go, "I love you on the Dark Side of Wrestling."
It was amazing.
So
it truly was amazing.
Poor Bart Gunn.
Yeah, and you know what? I worked with Bart Gunn.
I like Bart Gunn. He used to do a lot of our shows.
Really? Yeah, he did. He did. He really. In fact, I think the show we met on, you were second in Donnie. And I don't even remember what Donnie wrestled or whatever the hell it was, but I did your backstage. I did all the backstage interviews. We had Bam Bam Bigelow there. We had Bart Gunn. We had Samu. And I think this was up in New York. Does that kind of sound familiar?
Right. I get there's been so many shows. Like I'm trying to think. Like sometimes I see
you were young.
So many places. It was like every weekend, sometimes double shots.
Yeah.
You did shows you don't even remember half.
I mean, not that you're like some old hag now, but I'm just saying, like, you were young then. You know what I mean? Like, you were young. And I remember it like it was yesterday because Donnie was talking. And Donnie, for those of you who don't know who Donnie is, if you know Nova or Supernova, this is his twin brother, who's also in wrestling. He was a manager mostly. He wrestled a little bit, but he was a manager.
He wrestled. Mostly managed. Took a lot of good bumps and stuff.
Yeah. But I don't remember what his role was at this show, but he had you with him. So it was like, I think he was wrestling because you were his second.
Was it a tag match? Maybe we were doing it because we used to do a lot of tag matches too.
It might have been. He was talking and you were just like, doing like the dumb blonde girl thing like this. And it was funny how you were doing it. I remember because I was laughing while I was doing the video. And it was like, but he was talking, he goes, and what's good for that is good for her. And what's good for her is good for me. And you're like this, and it was a funny gimmick and stuff like that. But I think we were working up there. I think it was in, I can't remember because that's also where I met Mike Keener, the ref. Yeah. And because he did a dive off the top rope into all the wrestlers because they wouldn't listen to him in the match. You remember that, right? It was in like, I don't know if it wasn't in like New York City. It was in the Bronx or something like that, or Queens. Might have been in Queens.
Like I said, a lot of different Long Island.
And that's where I met J.R. Ryder, and that's where I met Steve Corino.
I love J.R.
Because Corino was on there. And
I love those guys. I had a great time. I was lucky to be with the guys that I was with when I was coming up and stuff. Definitely.
they were. It's a great group,
They were
and
really,
a lot of them became big. A lot of them became big stars.
yeah, yes, they
Like you
did.
see Kobe Carino now. My wife,
My
when we were
God.
when we were doing shows back in the day for Fiero, my
Yeah.
wife used to watch Kobe
Kobe.
backstage while Steve was out working
I know.
because
Kobe. I
she
can't
was with
believe
me
it.
because I was doing the video and production.
Yes, I
And
remember.
she was doing interviews. My wife was doing interviews at the time, and like she wasn't doing a lot of them because I did mostly was just like the talent had to the mic themselves or whatever.
Right.
So we were backstage, and he's like, "Oh, would you mind watching my son?" Blah blah blah. She said, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." He was so cute. He was like maybe 3 years old or something
Yes,
like
I think he was a baby.
that. Yeah, and now he's like this
Carino was
big dude. He's like this big
no,
dude.
yeah.
So that was kind of cool because Carino is from my way. He's up Collegeville,
Yep. Well,
up
Carino
my
too.
way.
Like I said, started out with all those guys. I have a picture somewhere. I gotta find it in the ring with all those guys. I don't know what show,
I
but like
understand.
it was just a great, that was a great group of guys to come up with, and I was
Yeah,
fortunate, very
that was
fortunate.
good, and it was fun. Wrestling was fun back then.
I had so much fun. I really
Yeah,
did.
you know.
And I've got
And
some of my best friends from there, so that was great about it too.
the funny story was too. We were working for Fiero, and remember how we used to get down to the shows like noon. The show wasn't until like 7 o'clock at night, but we get there like in the afternoon or
Oh
something
my
like
God,
that.
yeah. Mm.
And what happened was, I think Donnie was like, "Hey, why don't we all go on the boardwalk and you videotape us on the boardwalk, and it'll be like Donnie B and Bobcat are hanging out on the boardwalk, and I'll do all kinds of like heel stuff and blah blah blah, and it'll be a funny segment." I said, "Yeah, I'm cool with it." And then I talked to Tony, who was our producer, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, do it. That's fine, whatever." And we're all about to do it, and Tommy Fiore goes, "Yo, this is not the Donnie B show. Cut that shit out right now." I'm not sending anybody in the boardwalk. You know.
Donnie was a deal though. He really was. He just had so you just wanted to smack him. It was great. People were like, get so mad at him.
And the funny thing was, like that, even though that was his gimmick, that was him.
Yeah,
He was one of those guys that like he lived his gimmick in a sense,
it's
which was
hysterical. Yeah,
funny.
Donnie
And
B.
like you're all dolled up and like you're nice as anybody I know in life, what I mean? But like you're like one of the ones who are like, "Oh wow," like and like I don't want to go talk to her. I'm like, "Oh
Oh,
please, she's a teddy bear. She's nice." But like, but we had a lot of fun. We really did a lot of fun
yeah,
down there.
yeah, we really did.
I
I miss it.
mean, yeah,
Great.
it was a fun time,
Great
and it was a
wrestling.
fun time. It was a fun time to be in the business,
It really was. I had a great time.
because we still had a little bit of kayfabe left.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's still pretty much kayfabe. I just don't. I think after like it hit after 2000s, after the 2000s,
Hmm.
it beginning to the middle, and it really started as it started going with the shows and everything. Yep,
Well,
it just kept going. I mean, I guess actually what Tough Enough probably came out, it started to see a little more of how it went behind the scenes. And then after as each reality show, it got more and more and more. So, and then like you said, the internet didn't help any.
no,
You knew
not
it
at
was
all.
we would get a hold of what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw, whether it was good or whether it was right or wrong. Sometimes it was. Remember back then how they used to do that.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like when we were right in the middle of the Monday Night Wars, and we
Oh,
talked about this too, the Monday Night Wars was a short-term success.
that
It
was the
really,
best.
really was. It really
I love.
was. But you know what
Yeah,
though?
Bort,
It was like injecting yourself with a steroid to make you a monster, knowing that about 3 years from now you're going to have a heart attack and die. That's exactly what it was.
yep.
Because it was the greatest time in wrestling as far as like the
Wrestling,
extravaganza part.
right? It was
Yeah,
big. It was very big at that time.
huge, but it killed it. It killed it for everybody. You
It
know,
probably did.
I
You
you
had all
you
of
can
wrestling.
only set the bar so high. If you set the bar as high as heaven, you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was my point. And everything beyond that, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't, what I mean? I'm honestly, it's the same, but like, and someone who's watched wrestling now for the better part of 40 years, I like to take a time off. Like I like even with AEW, which I love AEW. If the girls want to watch a
What I
movie,
saw, I watched a little bit. What I saw, I want to get a little more into it. I kind
it's
of
great.
yeah. I want to, like I
Yeah,
said, I watched back before AEW. I don't know why. I just but I'm gonna. I love Cody Rhodes, so yeah.
he does
Cody
such
Rhodes,
great work. And I'm
he's a
telling you right now, Jericho on the mic is unbelievable.
Jericho. care.
Unbelievable. And you know, Jake the Snake Roberts is there now.
I heard that. I haven't seen him on there, and good for him. He's like, oh, good for
Looks
him.
good.
Yes,
He's an old man. I mean, don't get me wrong. He looks like an old man, but
No.
he looks good for an old man.
Yeah, but
The funny thing is, watching him come out and do a Jake the Snake promo was an emotional thing to watch because it was basically a time machine seeing Jake be Jake the Snake again.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It truly was. And what better person to represent Lance Archer, who, when he was Lance Hoyt in TNA.
Hello? Did I lose you there?
Nah, yeah, for a second, but we got you.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, get out and go back in. Now you muted yourself. Now you're on.
What
Can
happened?
you hear me?
Hello?
I know you were. Do you hear me?
me?
Can you hear me? No?
What?
Can you hear me?
You. No,
Go out and come back in.
I can't hear you.
Out, in. Go out.
What? There you are. I hear you.
Yanni, can you hear me?
No, I heard you for a minute.
Oh,
What happened?
I don't know. What are you doing? Messing up my show here. It's like,
hello.
Hello.
What happened?
Go
I can't
out.
hear you. You were on for a second.
Go out, then come back in.
Go back
out.
in?
Yes.
Okay.
She's so cute. I love having her on the show because she totally messes up everything.
No?
Now, can you hear me?
There you are.
Can you hear me? You in? Yeah?
Now you're off again. What happened?
I don't know. Let me try this.
What?
Like, go like this. And we're going to bring her back in. Can you hear us now?
Once again, folks, like I said, the most professional show in the business. We are 100% live. We do this every day. There's nothing that goes wrong on this show ever.
Ever. Can you hear us, Cyndi?
What happened?
Can you hear us? Cyndi?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, right?
Yes.
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Okay, well, I can hear you guys. It's a freeze frame right there. So what should I do?
Just keep it like that. It's not a great picture of
hear
you. Oh, God. Go out and then come back in.
Wow.
Got it?
No.
She's muting her mic. Here, I'm going to watch. This is how you take care of stuff live on a show. Let me see this.
Okay, what was that?
I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, hold on. I got to text Cyndi.
I hear something. Is it back?
Can you hear? I can hear you the whole time.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can see your room.
Can you guys?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There, no.
But I can hear you perfectly. I'm looking at whatever that. What is that?
It's my.
Flip your camera around.
Okay, I did. What did I do?
I don't know.
Okay, I see your finger.
Show.
I hope that was a finger.
Click.
Are we a G-rated show?
Link. No.
No? Oh, then fuck it. Go ahead. Go for it.
I'm texting her now. There we go. So hopefully she'll get that. But anyway, like I said, it's funny how it is. I mean, I'm actually enjoying the break myself a little bit. It's like I didn't realize like how anxious I was that I have to watch all this wrestling.
Right.
Until I had to watch all this wrestling. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, like my schedule's really full, and I want to enjoy a movie, but I can't because it's tonight's. I got to watch wrestling, and stuff like that. So I mean, it's kind of weird. Like I said, I think the wrestling world would enjoy a break if we had some alternative content to watch in the meantime.
Right.
And like Charles said last week, you weren't on the show last week, but Charles said, and it's the truth, they have so much content on the network that they could put anything on in place of SmackDown or in place of, can you hear us? Cyndi's coming back on. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Am I back?
Yes.
I can't hear you guys though.
You can't hear us. Why? Oh.
What now?
Try it again. I don't know. Try it. Let me see something. Can you hear us now? No?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You just came in. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep,
Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you
I
perfectly.
think I'm back now.
Oh, good. Yay.
Danny, how come I can't hear you?
You can't hear me at all?
I can't hear you.
Oh, that's crazy. We're going to try something here. Let me see something.
The reason why she can't hear Dan is because everybody's tired of hearing Dan speak.
See?
So the fact that she can
Unmute.
hear me, it just, kind of understandable.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, what happened? It said,
Let me see here.
Are we back now? What happened to Danny?
Well, you should be. Kick from studio.
Everybody say something. I can hear you. I can't hear Danny.
How much? You can't hear me? I'm going to kick you out.
Yeah, I still can't hear you.
Tell her I'm going to kick her out, and then when she can go
What?
back. Then she needs to come back in.
What he's going to do, he's going to kick you out of the broadcast, and then you got to re-enter through the link.
I just did. That's what I just did.
Yeah, he's going to try it again.
I'm going to try it
Okay, I'll
again.
do it again. All right, bye.
Let me see. Oh, she got out her stuff. Okay, I don't have to kick her out. Good, I don't feel bad. But this is why this show is so fun. Guys, this is the COVID-19 era. We're home in our home studios, and this is the kind of stuff that happens.
Apparently, the broadcast is sick, so
right, the broadcast is sick, and we'll go from there. Maybe when Mark Lindsay goes in and edits this, he can edit this whole travesty out.
Actually, I want him to leave it in.
Leave it in, Mark. Leave it in. We don't care. It's all good because it's That Way Cool Wrestling Show. We're doing this for 4 years, damn it. Why should that be any different?
This is par for the course. I
It really-
swear. And this is why I do my segment of the show from the bar. Because at any point in time, something can go wild. I just reach under the bar, grab a little something.
Okay. Cyndi, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me still?
Say something again.
Hello?
Okay, you're there now.
Okay, very good.
Can you hear me
What
now?
happened?
Yeah. I don't know. It happens from time to time. I know you're on an iPhone, which I can't stand that device. So
It's an iPhone too.
that's on the iPhone. You do. You have an old one.
I know. I'm changing everything over, so I'm waiting till it's like, till the end.
It dies.
I
She
know.
shoots it.
I hate that. Techie is not my thing, as you can tell.
No, it's not. And
Artsy type.
we talked about the backstage and behind the scenes. If you would have saw the behind the scenes of me taking care of her to get on the show the last time versus this time, it was an incredible 24 hours.
Yeah. You were like, oh, it's just easy. I'm like, Danny, remember last time?
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, though, because I'm friendly with Scott Hudson from WCW, and Scott works for a law firm, so he's in legal stuff. Yeah, so a lot of what he does is very protective as far as like how he doesn't use Chrome because his phone got hacked, so he uses some other kind of, not even one I recognized. I didn't know what browser he was talking about.
Right.
But we had him on the show. You remember the last time that you were on, right?
Yeah.
And it was that whole big, I had to have you get Google Hangouts and all that other kind of. Well, Google Hangouts went away. Okay.
Yeah.
It went away, and it went away the day before Scott Hudson was coming on the show.
Oh, shit.
And I had no plan to back that up, right?
Yeah.
I kind of figured out something I can get him on, right? So me and LeGrand had, how about LeGrand? It was one of the best interviews we had on this program.
It was phenomenal.
It was such a great interview. But lo and behold, because I was doing all this behind the scenes stuff and I was doing it through our generator, does our green screens and stuff like that, we neglected to turn the microphones on.
Oh, no.
So it was all like this.
That is hysterical.
Right? And I was like, and somebody was watching it and they're like, dude, there is no sound at all on that thing. I said, what? I said, you gotta be kidding me. So we lost an hour and a half interview with Scott Hudson. That was amazing, right? So then Scott's like, well, we can reschedule. I'm like, okay, cool. Because he's a real nice guy. He's real nice. So we reschedule. And I said, okay. Because he called in the last time. Like we in the Canon Entertainment Studio, we were able to have you call in instead of like you did it last time. I think you called in. No, you did Hangouts. You did Hangouts, but we had like we just call with the phone.
Call in, yeah,
Right.
like the radio show. Yeah.
Right. So we had that there, but I didn't have it at home. So I said, I need you to come on like we're doing now, right? And on his phone, because he doesn't have Chrome, he couldn't get the link to work at all. Like you were having like today, right? And he's like, well, I'm not downloading Chrome because I got hijacked before and blah, 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 this and the other thing. And I get it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, he's like, is there any way I can call you? And I'm like, I would love for you to call me. I said, but dude, I can't record it. You know, like I'm not in the big studio. Right. And so I tried it a third time and it never worked. So I got Scott on hiatus until I'm back in the big studio.
Oh my, that's funny. Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say he could try this way, can he? Does he have an iPhone?
No, because you need Chrome.
Oh no, I don't have. I didn't.
Well, you use Safari, right?
Yeah, he could do it through Safari.
And
I have Chrome on my phone.
yeah, you don't have Chrome on your phone, right? Yeah. I don't know. It was something where I wasn't going to like push the issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of guys that I talked to that were like, oh yeah, I'll come on the show. But like I talked to Barry Horowitz, right, at home. And I was like, Barry, can you come on? Blah, blah. Oh yeah, sounds like a great idea. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, but I only do like 20 minutes and I can do it like tomorrow, which was like a Wednesday. And I'm like, well, no, we're recording on like Saturday or something like that, you know, when everybody's around, you know, in the show. And it was like I had such a lovely conversation with the man, but I was like, I can't book him to save my life. I said, I'm done. I'm not. I've booked Haku. I booked the Killer Bees. Yeah. I can't get Barry Horowitz. I don't know what's happening. But
some people, you remember too, a lot of this stuff is techie, and a lot of people aren't used to that, and they're like, I just rather not, you know.
You know what? Like we talked about Reno Riggins. I had to call him like right before the show. He's like, all right, Dan, I'm sitting in front of my computer. And it's a good thing, like for work, I do tech support for computer, for like websites. So I'm able to like walk people through stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But he was amazing. Oh, brother, I got it. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, he was all like excited, you know.
Like we're not wrestling people aren't techie people. We're creative people, but not a techie.
Not techie at all. No. It's true. When was the last time you wrestled?
Actually, a year ago in Indiana.
Oh, that soon.
With a new girl. So basically, I just kicked the crap out of her and threw her around.
Oh, did you come in as like the general or whatever?
No, just she was. It was a school across in Indiana, and with Pondo, their school over there, Pondo.
Okay.
Frank. Yeah, so they had a school there, and it was one of their young students, and it was fun. You know.
Or was it like a graduation show or something?
No, they do their own shows. It was a little school, and they have their own shows.
They just do their shows like in general, which they give their people to work in front of people and all.
Right. Like on some pre-shows, and then I managed one kid as his like I played his mom. He was like 17 years old, but I like kissed him.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
were you his mom?
Yeah, I was like taking on my son, like and there were people going, "This ain't Kentucky." And I probably scared him for life.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and his his real mom was there. I go, "Hey, let's go for drinks afterwards."
Was his mom nice looking?
Yeah, she's pretty.
Was she pretty? Yeah. Because I wonder if like you play his mom and like his mom's like a hag.
No, well, actually, right? No,
jeez, dude.
Pretty.
Well, you don't know. I don't know this kid. How do I know? My mom was beautiful, but I wouldn't say my mom was like to the stature of like a model or something like that. You know, it's just what people are. It's what it is.
She's your mom, right?
Yeah, she's my mom. That's it. You know, that's all. You know, that's funny though. That's really funny.
Yeah, so that was the last time.
Like I don't talk about my mom.
Yeah, not that making out with 17-year-olds without.
Yeah, that's a good gimmick though.
Yeah, it was pretty.
That's pretty funny.
I didn't actually make out with him, but I was just like, that kind of whole.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that. I had work with a guy in ACPW Underground, and this guy's wife, or LeGrand knows who I'm talking about. this guy's wife, this guy was real skinny and she was real big. Right? They looked like a circus couple.
Yes,
Not,
I get what you're saying.
yeah, not I mean not terribly big. I don't want to say terribly.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But she was big enough. She was big enough to not be small. Let's put it that way.
I got you.
And
in this,
and she was literally, and I'm not lying. I'm not trying to be funny. She was built like a barrel. Okay. She didn't have hips. She didn't have breasts.
Right.
She was a barrel. She was a barrel. So he was a nutcase. This is the gimmick. He's a nutcase, and she's his nurse. That's the gimmick, right? So I'm like, it's kind of cool gimmick, whatever. He's like a crazy person, and she's the person from the insane ward that takes him out to wrestle, and she takes him back or whatever it was. Right. So he has to work me, right? And I'm like this Jimmy Garvin, Eddie Gilbert gimmick going, right? So I'm Mr. Hot Stuff, and I'm walking around, blah, blah, blah. And during the match, he gets up, and I have to do the thing where I'm like, hey, baby, blah, blah, and I'm distracted by the second. And I'm thinking to myself, this would never fucking happen in real life, ever. Knowing who I'm looking at right now, right? Because I have standards of what I like, whatever. Well, and she's, I'm saying that serious, like, and then we do the match and blah, 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 work. Well, she gets smitten because I'm flirting with her during the match, right? Because I didn't realize that they have like an on again, off again type of married relationship.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, and all of a sudden she went from a manager to a rat in about 3 seconds. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
And
it's funny when you get into this business and you're already married, you know what I mean? And you're already not a young adult anymore. It's like, wow, what am I missing in this locker room? You know what I mean?
I know. I hear that. That biz.
The biz.
I got nothing to say about any of this. Leave me the hell out of it. I'm gonna take a third or fifth drink, whatever.
LeGrand was not at that show.
Thank you.
Yes. Nobody of importance.
Thank you.
At that show.
You're too funny.
Oh my God! But it's funny how that is, and once again, it's like I was willing to go down on a Tuesday night to Delaware, wrestle in a bar, and be there till like 11 o'clock. Get home by midnight. Have to get up for 6 in the morning, and go to work. Hopefully not hurt, because I was working. That was Underground was their student shows like we were describing.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, we're working with a lot of green people, but we also had a lot of indie guys who wanted work coming in. Did you lose our sound?
Look, I'm gone again.
Did you hear us? Can you hear us?
Me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
You can hear. I can't hear you again. I'm going to have to cut out and go back in. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to have to do the same thing. All right.
So please continue.
So I shall. So, going on a Tuesday night, going back in. Yeah. Yes. Can you hear us? Yes. Can you hear us?
It is. All right, Gordon.
You can't hear us?
Gorgeous George just called me. So, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Gorgeous George just called me. Somebody calls me, it drops out.
Oh.
So should I put on play mode?
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Yes.
There.
Can you hear us?
All right.
That's what.
Can you hear us? No.
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 All right.
Gonna text her again.
One of the problems of coming from the bar is I have too many options to drink when things go wrong.
This is true. You know what I mean? And you know what? Like I said, coming into this, I was like, let's do a show. I was talking to Cyndi, just like yesterday or the day before. I said, yeah, when are you available? She's like, tomorrow.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So that worked for me, So, it's cool to have, people in the business that come on and are able to share stories with us and stuff like that. Because right now we don't have a lot of wrestling to pull from. So this is like a perfect time to have these guys come on and say, hey, this is what we used to do. This is how things used to be, and, with us, we have Breakout, which is our weekly review of wrestling with my boy
Right.
Rusty. And, with us here, we tackle the big problems on this show, which apparently is our editing.
It's not even the editing.
No, it's not. It really is. It's just the production altogether, which I love. We need money into this production, people. I need you to support this channel. I think I have a Patreon. I need you to submit money to Patreon and get us to support this channel so we could do this a little bit better. But
I mean, can we get a GoFundMe or something so we can?
right? Exactly. I got a lot of shows on here. I need some funding to get this shit paid for. You know what I mean? But you know what? It's one of those things where seeing people like Cyndi when she was wrestling was cool because it's good to get a female's aspect on everything.
All right, am I back? Can you get me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Okay. So when I put it on airplane mode, it wouldn't let me get back in, so I had to take it.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, it was George, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah. Tell her, say I'm on a show, damn it.
She's trucking somewhere.
Is she? Yeah, I know. She's in Tennessee now, isn't she, or something like that?
Yeah, she actually passed through here. But she's like, God, I can't believe I passed through you and didn't stop. I'm like, you should have, but she didn't.
Is she working trucking?
Yeah, she's working. So that's what
working,
Trucking Divas, which should have been coming out doing it next month, but now with all the
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. COVID-19.
Yeah, she bailed on the show twice, so we're not going to talk about her.
She's here. I'll make her do the show with me.
Yeah, I know. It's like the only way we're going to have her on the show. For those of you who are wondering who we're talking about Gorgeous George, who was probably the most popular with the Macho Man Randy Savage back at the end of WCW. She was a very beautiful blonde, second to the Macho Man, who was very good personal friends with our friend Cyndi. And you guys worked around, and sure enough, to get some of the pressure off yourself, you got another blonde with big boobs.
There you go. Right? Well,
that's
why we're doing this show, Trucking Divas, which will be definitely fun. It's like a reality kind of fun show.
Tell us all about that. Where's this getting produced, and who's doing this?
It's the same Catacomb Productions.
Okay.
It's all the movie people that I'm writing the scripts for and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually did Deathmatch 1, 2, and 3. This was how I met them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to do a YouTube channel, which is like there's Rob Zombies involved and interested, and Shudder and YouTube. So hopefully our goal is to actually have our channel.
That's phenomenal. And tell us about this. Tell us about this screenplay you wrote.
The recent one I wrote called Veganator. Let's leave it at that.
I love this.
I wrote a screenplay called The Shannons. So hopefully that will come to play soon.
So what's happening in the Veganator? I want a preview of the Veganator.
Is that I'm almost vegan. I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat meat, and I haven't for about a year or so. And I'm pretty much vegan, but not quite. Like I don't feel vegan.
What's the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian?
A vegetarian doesn't eat meat. A vegan, everything has to be like you can't have milk. Look, which I drink almond milk anyway, but you can't drink anything from any animal, anything from an animal. You can't wear leather.
So they take it one step further.
It's step forward. Like I don't eat meat. I don't eat any animal. And but I do have bread, and I don't. Sometimes I get vegan bread, but sometimes it's not there for me, so I will eat like eggs. But I haven't actually eaten eggs in like maybe 6 months. So slowly but surely, I'm definitely more on the vegan side of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as hardcore as those vegan people are. Which is great. I mean, I don't think there's any reason why we should eat animals, but
I would ride a cow and chew on its ear while it's walking. Honestly.
I mean, I have to tell you, I don't blame it for their beliefs, but that's just how I believe anyway. So the Veganator is a horror flick, and you can only imagine what's going to happen.
Honestly, I'm trying to figure it out.
Talking about all this vegan stuff, and in the background, I have a wild boar head.
The vegan people captivate the people that aren't vegan and treat them as processed and treat that, and it goes through a whole story, but it's pretty gruely, pretty gnarly.
I would imagine they're just angry because they're not eating meat and they start beating people up.
No, I feel much better. Honestly, I feel much better I don't eat meat, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel a lot better.
Going to the bathroom fine and all. That's all good.
Everything's perfect.
Right.
Jesus, dude.
I'm great. Yeah, you're gonna. Yes, I poop,
Yes, he poops very well.
and
Boom.
I don't need an animal to eat it. Do it, So,
There you go. See?
I mean, like I said, I don't push my views. A lot of people don't know that about me, but
What
I don't
made
want
you make that move?
what.
What made you make that move?
Okay, to be honest with you, I was watching, education. I was watching a lot how they were treating animals.
Mhm.
It would make me cry. And I have a dog, and I'm a great animal lover, so I'm thinking, why? Because it tastes good, or do I need it? And
Right.
I feel like if you have I go to Burger King, get the Impossible Whopper. It's awesome.
I heard a lot of people like that, honestly. Dunkin'
You
Now,
Donuts.
didn't.
Dunkin'
I'm
Donuts has
not gonna lie.
sausage too.
You like it, or you don't like it? No, I'm just saying. But that's for me. And I eat beef burgers, and I eat veggie burgers, and I'm fine.
You a tofu? Do you eat tofu?
Yes, I like tofu.
Do
I
you?
can't cook yet. I'm not very good at cooking anyway, so I'll eat a lot of tofu out. Or tofu salads.
Tofu looks like you're eating a clone. You know, like when a clone happens and it hasn't fully grown yet? That's what a tofu looks like to me.
It looks like these little spongy things, but it's cooked right. They're really good.
It's very sci-fi. What are you going to say?
So agree.
It's like I go out and people, I'm like, oh, I don't eat meat, and they're like, okay, but I'm not stopping anyone else. That's your choice, but for me,
Yeah.
And I tell you, I have no desire to ever eat it again.
Really?
It's just one of those. I just look at it and I'm like, it's just something about it, and automatically turned me off. And it was not something I was like planning on doing. It just happened.
Now, aside from
just
feeling better, did you see medically that you have anything that seems to be better off, like your cholesterol or anything like that?
Honestly, I've lost weight. Because probably I don't eat that much meat, or I don't eat all that stuff. But
Right.
I work out, and anyway, and I take a lot of vitamins, so for just to keep up. So I pretty
Right.
much feel.
I mean, with your shows, though, you need to kind of keep your shape, I would think, like your body, because you're exposed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You can work out.
I'm not trying to be weird. Yeah, I'm just saying. I know what she does, and I'm like, okay, you need to be exposed a little bit, so you got to keep it going.
Like I go to the gym, do cardio. That's my thing.
Now, do you look back at the old pictures and say, look at those fucking abs I had? I need to get that back. You do that?
Yeah, just when you're younger, you have that. I mean, I can get it now, but
Yeah.
it'll never be that. It's not going to be that.
It'd probably be harder for you too. Even being healthier, it'd probably be harder for you.
Harder, but you got to fight the power. You got to keep going.
Yeah, this is true. I'm kidding. I know I gave up a long time ago. That's why all my shots are a bust shot. I look great from here up.
You always notice, or whatever, when they kind of end their career, they tend to just be like, fuck it, they don't work out anymore. They eat whatever
Isn't
they
that
want.
the truth? Like, you watch people.
How many people that gone down that road that were like, that's it. They're like, I'm done. I'll just eat and do whatever I want.
I was watching Hannibal TV. You ever watch that on YouTube, right? And they were interviewing a bunch of people, and one of the people they were interviewing was Knobs of the Nasty Boys.
Yes,
and when I tell you that he looks like a Play-Doh person that you put together, like a ball and a bigger, smaller ball for the head and no neck, I said, Jesus Christ, this guy's gonna have a heart attack like on camera. Like, I mean, he was never a bodybuilder or something, but Jesus Christ, at least he would look better than that. You know what I mean? I used to be in shape. I used to say, it was funny. I used to say I look like a smaller Arn Anderson body wise, and now I look like Tank Abbott. It's horrible. I'm like, nope, boom, and then I got this, like, my kids are like, "Oh, you look pregnant, Dad." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, appreciate it, appreciate it." That's what happens. That's what happens when you have girls. They're not nice at all.
All those years trying to be perfect, you know what I'm saying? That it's just like,
true.
It's just.
Yeah, but do you truly say, like, fuck it? I'm so glad I'm not doing it anymore.
I think it's my ADHD. That's why I keep going the way I go. Like, I need something. Like, I shouldn't be, but I'll go to the hike. Even like it's been raining the last 3 days, but I'll go and hike. There's no there, and I'll just go do the trails and come back, because sitting here like the last 3 days, I'm going nuts. Except for like I wrote a film script and I'm learning to play the bass. But other than that, it's like,
no, you're keeping busy. No, you're keeping busy, which is great. Yeah, and you're doing good stuff. How long did it take you to write that screenplay?
It took me about 4 days.
Jesus Christ. When did you come up with the idea?
Being vegan.
It's like 5 days ago.
And so I was doing, I'm still doing burlesque and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the girl from Nashville Burlesque, Shannon's, actually, it was I kind of wrote it about her, but I turned it into a dark comedy. So it's pretty funny.
That's neat.
Like she was
That
like
the Shannons, you said. Okay. Got it.
yeah. So it's basically, I go loosely based on a real life story, but loosely because we're killing people.
Now tell the fans about your burlesque stuff, because I've seen it. You sent me links so I can watch stuff and whatever. What the hell, for someone who has no idea what that is.
Okay.
Because that's an old industry.
Yeah, well, basically, burlesque back in the day was stripping, but they did it with gimmicks and everything because if you notice they couldn't show certain parts on stage, so they would go off stage, take their clothes off, have something in front of them, cover in front of them, flash the audience, let them come back, because legally that's what they had to do.
Right.
But it turned out quite entertaining. It was a little more striptease. Like it wasn't like nowadays, just like boom, you're right out there naked.
Right.
But so I had friends that were doing it, and I always I love dancing and all that stuff too. So my friend had a burlesque troupe here in Louisville, and I started doing it with them, and then we start doing our own burlesque troupe.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Nashville, I was in Nashville Burlesque. So yeah, I was doing it for quite some time. I mean, it's just classic.
It's choreographed, right?
Some of it can be.
Yeah.
And then you choreograph songs like chair dancing and all that stuff. You know stuff before you go and perform. Of course.
But it's not. Unlike stripping, like you said. It's not like you're out there and boom, there we go.
You don't really anything like you have to. The laws for burlesque is you have to wear full back and you have to wear pasties and an underbra. So basically,
okay. Yeah. I'm trying to picture that. I'm like, what? It sounds like a Frankenstein outfit.
There's pictures of it in Facebook. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just corsets, pasties. It's a lot of hardware.
But it's right now. I'm assuming is it to new music, old music? Like is
whatever the themes is? Like we did a 70s burlesque. I mean, we've done like classic burlesque.
Right.
I performed with live music with some great music, rockabilly, and so it's pretty cool. I like it.
And it's like no, I mean, granted, it's all a show, but I'm saying it's like a show rather than going to
you can
and just watching some girl dance.
You can't tip anything like that. It's an actual show. Like it's props and bells and it is choreographed. When you do group numbers together, you choreograph together. But yeah, definitely we do group numbers and those are choreographed and stuff. It's a great show. It really is.
That's neat. There is a link. What is you gave me a website before? What was the website to look for that?
Nashville Burlesque.
.what?
I don't know. .com, I guess. Or .org. I don't.
I love how techy she is. You're
I
so
don't know. Nashville Burlesque. Google it. And Shannon Milan, she's the girl who runs it, and actually she wrote the script about the Shannons. Which it's been a couple of years since I've done that, but hopefully it's going to be where we're going to get to do it eventually. I mean, looking like sooner than later. So that's
right. Now, is that also? I would imagine that's also keeping you like, say, I got to keep myself in shape. If I'm doing this kind of stuff or whatever, because you're at most you're down to what, pasties and like underwear or something like that.
Yeah, like
I'm being very non-technical when it comes to what you wear, but I'm saying
I use fans a lot, so I use a lot of fans and stuff like that. So.
Oh, like real big fans or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Now you actually posted. You were doing was it a birthday or something like that? You weren't doing it. I mean, you were there. I think. Was it at the place where you do the shows? It was somebody's birthday, and it was a rockabilly band playing.
Yes.
Last month.
It was my friend's husband's birthday. It was my friend Jane Rose. So it's her band was playing here, and I actually performed burlesque for her band. And
oh, neat. Okay.
Jane Rose and the Dead End Boys. You should check them out.
That's neat. And when you do it for a band, I think I know somebody else that actually did this, and I didn't know what I was looking at. But you're doing your burlesque routines while they're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I know I've seen it before.
And I've done plenty of to her songs, like they have original stuff, and I've
cool.
So yeah, it's really cool. The shows are really good.
What's fun? What's more fun, getting naked in front of strange people or getting your ass kicked while you're half naked?
Same. Same.
Yes, that's my girl.
Same.
And what a lot, and just going back to some of the stuff that we talked about in your last interview or whatever, you were what? You were one of 4 female hardcore champions. Is that correct? One of
Yes.
4.
First-
That's the number.
first-
Yeah.
I
Who
was
were the
number-
women?
I was the first female hardcore
You were the
champion.
first one. The very first
Yeah.
one. See
The
that?
very first. No, I beat
Who
everyone
followed
else.
you?
I want to say Trish or Molly Holly.
Did Trish hold the hardcore title? I don't know. Did she?
And Molly Holly.
Okay.
And who else was the other?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know. Be one more.
Sure.
Word.
I know
Alright.
it was me, Trish, Molly Holly, and
I'm trying to think about who was there when you were there. It wasn't Terry Reynolds.
mm-mm.
And it wasn't, was it that girl that was with Sean Waltman for a while? Tori something?
No, I don't think it was Tori.
Was it Lisa Varon?
No, I don't think it was Lisa Vaughan.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I wasn't.
Google it. Who's got it? See who the,
All right, I
before-
Google it.
Google,
Let me see if
Google it.
I'm going to Google it.
Because I know it's me, Trish, and Molly Holly that I know of. I can't think, for the life of me, I can't think who the fourth one was.
The 4 female WWF
Hardcore champ.
hardcore.
And the winner is.
Not my Google. Let me see. Who does it say?
And the winner is.
You're right. Molly Holly.
Right, Trish
Trish
Stratus.
Stratus. It was Terry Reynolds.
Oh, what?
I didn't think it was her.
I would not guess Terry Reynolds.
And the Godfather's hoe.
That would be me, but I was the first one.
Were you the hoe when you got the title or not?
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
the
you were.
Godfather.
Oh, you were the hoe. Okay, you were the Godfather.
Hoe queen.
There you go. So yeah, it's right there. I didn't realize it was Terry Reynolds. I was trying to think of
Me
who
either.
was in the company at that time.
I would not guess Terry Reynolds. I was thinking, and that was so obvious, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's what I was saying. I'm like, no, it wasn't her.
No, it wasn't her.
Here's a funny story. We were at I think we were at an NWA New Jersey show, right? For Big Gino. Remember Big Gino?
Yeah.
He passed away a few years ago. Yeah, and Dennis Carlucci, right. So we're there, and my wife's uncle owned a comic book shop in South Philly. So he used to always be a vendor at a lot of the shows where there was connections in South Philly, right? So we're there, and he just started getting into the wrestling vendoring. You know what I mean? He said, oh, it's a big thing. Everybody seems to be paying for stuff. Let me do it. I said, yeah. I said, I'll go with you. I used to produce the shows, blah, blah, blah. So I go there with him, and he brings his belts with him, stuff like that. And he doesn't understand or realize how much fans will pay for stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's being realistic what he would sell if there was no fandom in his store. And I said, no, right? So he's got a championship belt, like a WWE big gold eagle belt, and he's selling it for whatever. And then he's got a hardcore belt. And you remember how beat up it was. I mean, it was a replica, of course. And he goes, well, I'm selling the gold eagle belt. I'm selling that for like $100. And I'm selling the hardcore title. Now, mind you, this is a real replica, not like a toy.
Yeah.
I'm selling it for like, I don't know, like $40.
Wow.
And he's looking at it because he's seen it all busted up. Like, who the fuck would want this, right?
Yeah.
So some kid comes over. Somebody buys the big gold belt, and I upsell it. He wanted $100. I sold it for $150, right? So there, boom, 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 right? So I pocket the money, boom, good, I guess. So then there's other kids like, yeah, so that guy bought a title. I really want a title, but what other titles do you have? I said, well, we're kind of out. I said, well, let me pull something out. And I had the belt underneath a bunch of T-shirts. So I pulled the belt out, right? I said, I got the only one we have left, the hardcore championship. And the kid was like, oh, like this, right? I said, yeah, dude. I'm like, and this is totally a steal at $125, right? So he wanted like $40 for it. He goes, $125? I said, yeah, dude. I said, we're letting it go because we're getting rid of merchandise. We got new inventory coming in, right? And he goes, oh, I don't know. I'm like, dude, it's the hardcore title. He goes, dude, you're right. Here, pulls out $125, gives it to me, right? So I hand him my uncle a wad of cats. He goes, what's this from? I said, I sold 2 belts. You're good. I said, what the hell did you sell for?
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? But I said, I know what they want. I know what these people want. I said, I know what it'll go for, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in Jersey.
Crazy.
You know how Wildwood was. Wildwood was crazy. with those
Wildwood
people.
was nice. That was like some of the best times Wildwood. I loved it.
Mhm.
Wildwood.
And we were in the old convention center. Remember back then? That was when we were there. It was the old center. Yeah. The new one's nice. It's got like 19 rooms in there or whatever, but
Where's it at? Where they moved?
across the street.
Across the street.
Yeah.
I
Like
liked it.
you remember where it was, then
Yeah.
you had the boardwalk.
Yeah.
That is leveled or something else is there now. And you go across the boardwalk and it's down that side. So they built it on the beach, connected
Did
to
they
the
do it
board.
because of the hurricane, or was it? Did they
No,
get
because
damaged?
it's 3 times the size it was.
But did the first one get damaged in the hurricane, or did just decided to?
Nah, I think they just decided to because they saw that they could.
There. So yeah, I was wondering.
They saw that they could do a lot more because then they started hosting Raw there.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Yeah, it was big money. And they could host Raw while they were doing other things there at the same time. But that's how big it was. So it made more sense to do it like that. But
That's awesome.
nice venue, real nice venue. But we kept you on here for an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, so George just texted me back, and she's in Louisville, so I have to go call her back.
Yes, call her back. Tell her we all say hi and
Yes, I
everything.
will.
Yes, definitely tell her to say hi. What this is your time to shine, honey. Promo whatever
Okay.
you got.
Like I said, Catacomb Productions. Sean Kane is what I'm working with now. We will be eventually hoping getting our own channel. We're putting out a lot of movies, a lot of interest between Rob Zombie, Shudder, YouTube. Hope something will, not hoping, I know it'll definitely pan out. A bunch of talented people. The cast is getting bigger and bigger on the stuff. Hopefully I'll get to do, I know I'll be, not hopefully, but I will get to do my scripts. So yeah,
Mhm.
we're looking for, and the Veganator, look for all our stuff. Like we've got Lipstick Vampires, we've got, so much stuff. You just have to go on and look. Catacomb Productions, and we've got clowns, we've got demons, we've got everything.
That's
So,
great. Now you're not performing now though, right? Because of the COVID-19.
what? No, I'm not performing. Actually,
Right.
our last year got canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do work at Play with a lot of the drag queens and kings, which are very talented, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to be doing some viral show with one of my drag queen friends.
That's
But
cool.
I will let you know. But yeah, I mean, I've learning a lot for those guys, and gals. Those female and male impersonators. They're awesome. I'm working with them, so I have a great time working with them too.
That's
So,
awesome. That's did you ever talk you into being like a man?
no, they don't. I would make a horrible. But I'm
Probably
actually
would.
when the cast is between the drag kings and the queen, I'm called a diva. So if I perform with the drag queens, I'm just another diva performing with them. And when I
Yeah.
perform with the kings, I'm just, I'll do a male female song with them, and I'm the diva. And then I do songs by myself. So it's a lot of fun. And people say it's very hard.
It sounds like a weird version of the Jazz Singer with Neil Diamond.
That movie.
Remember that when he in the beginning he was in blackface and he was trying to be a black guy and he figured out he had his hands were white.
I love Neil Diamond.
That's a great movie. That's what that sounded like. You're like, oh wow, she's gonna hide.
But
that's great. Cyndi, we love you. Thank you for coming on.
I'll be back.
Thank you so much.
We'll have you on, definitely. We'll have you on a lot more, as much as you want, especially now that we're bored.
I'll keep you thoroughly entertained.
You will. You do. Make sure you join her over there. You can actually check out a lot of Cyndi's stuff. If you look up Bobcat versus, I think if you hit Bobcat versus, like stuff from her will come up. I think. Or if you type in wrestling Bobcat, and then you'll see stuff like that. Yeah. Because you do have a lot of matches online.
Also, too, they have all the old stuff we did from MCW from down in Memphis.
Oh, yes, that's right.
There, too, which is pretty cool.
And you can probably see you with Gorgeous George, I think, on it. I think I actually watched some matches with you and her together.
Yes. She cracks me up. I love her so much. Actually, let me go call her before she leaves Louisville again. All right.
Yes, do that.
Right.
Thank you for coming on. For LeGrand Jackson, for Cyndi Snow, my name is Danny J. Until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
The proceeding was produced by DJB Productions. Go to www.thatwaycoolwrestlingshow.com.